Hello and welcome to another Paratus video. My name is Gideon and this one is just a rant about this communist economic terrorism we have all been subjected to, or rather subjugated to, over the past nearly 4 months. So I went for a walk this morning through town and I went, or rather past a few guest houses on the way, most of them well kept, quite pretty, but all of them closed, firmly shut down, nothing going on. And it just struck me, as it has struck me several times on several occasions throughout lockdown, the damage, the irreparable, irreversible damage that's being done to our economy and our people and our citizens in the name of fighting the invisible enemy. These guest houses are just a physical representation of the problem. We are hit today by the news that there's like 3 million unemployed people, or people unemployed due to COVID. It's not due to COVID, it's due to the lockdown. The virus has nothing to do with these people's unemployment. The lockdown and the destruction of the economy has everything to do with it. And even before lockdown, we were in the longest sustained economic decline since the end of World War II in SA, and we were in that decline thanks to the ANC and their policies and their terrible politics and the fact that they insist on making South Africa a business-unfriendly destination, a business-unfriendly country where entrepreneurs are hamstrung and held back by unnecessary political red tape, where our taxes and our tax rates are astronomically high, where people get nothing for their taxes, where we have made millions of people addicted and dependent on state welfare, state distributed welfare, and we are trumpeting that as some sort of success story, perversely, where it is actually a gigantic human tragedy, if not a crime against humanity. Now we've made millions of people unemployed, possibly permanently unemployed, and possibly permanently unemployable, because there is going to be no economy to bounce back and somehow suck these people back in and make them productive. And we shut this entire economy down for 3 months in order to flatten the curve and prepare the hospitals for the supposed surge of COVID cases. Now we're hearing hospitals are being overrun, people have no beds, the overcapacity, doctors are, worked to pieces and aren't sleeping, and everyone's stressed and horrible and people are dying. And I'm going, what the fuck have you done for 3 months? What have you done with our sacrifices for 3 months? We sat at home. I'm out of a job, millions of other people out of a job. We're not going to get jobs back. We have become a nation of unemployed people. We have destroyed our economy, which is already knocking on death's door, pardon the noise, in order to give these fuckwits time to prepare hospitals or whatever, the state healthcare, which they wouldn't have been able to do anyway, but we'll get to that in a moment. And what's the first news we get when we are starting to ease out after all these sacrifices is, oh, they're overwhelmed. And then they have the balls to pontificate to us that we're irresponsible and they're taking our alcohol away from us because they couldn't fucking prepare. Well, guess what? State-owned hospitals, public healthcare has been a cesspool of corrupt fiscal fuckery, mismanagement to a criminal level, incompetence, corruption, cater deployment and bullshit since long before COVID arrived on our shores. And this was a standard thing to have mismanaged public hospitals where people are lying in hallways, dying in parking lots, giving birth in cars in the parking lots because there's nobody in the hospital to look after them. I mean, our sick record of public health care and how terrible it is nothing new. It's been going on for years. It's been going on for longer than I can even remember. And now we're being told, oh no, we're irresponsible. You can't have a drink because the hospitals are overwhelmed with trauma cases. Trauma beds and COVID beds are two different things, by the way, so that's complete bullshit in its own. Oh, and wear your mask, bigot, because if you don't, you're a super spreader and you just want grandma to die. And I'm so sick of this cult of fear. I'm so sick. I've got fear fatigue. We've made sacrifices. We are poorer. We're going to be very poor for a very long time. And we made these sacrifices for what? So that we can be told to be good little slaves by God Ramaphosa sitting on his fucking ivory tower throne ruling over us all. That just frankly to me isn't good enough. You have taken alcohol, you've taken tobacco, you've destroyed those industries, and guess what? It's not just those industries that are destroyed. Alcohol the entire ban on alcohol sales affects industries that manufacture glass. It affects industries that manufacture labels. It affects the actual manufacture of alcohol, the distribution of alcohol, the retail of alcohol. It affects logistics companies that are involved in transportation and logistics. The knock-on effects, the forward and backward linkages of one industry into the broader economy are massive, and it just appears to me that no one has a bloody clue what they're doing. And we are being told by people who have no clue what they're doing that they know what they're doing, and we should do what they say and not question it. Otherwise, we are part of the problem. And I have frankly just had enough of this. There is no rhyme, reason, science behind any of the stuff that we're being subjected to right now. That's why a taxi can be 100% full as long as it opens its window slightly. That's why airplanes can be 100% full as long as the buses that run between the terminal and the airplanes aren't full. But you can't open your restaurant to full capacity, and you can't serve people wine with their dinner. Well, prior to the alcohol ban, you couldn't do that either, because the virus only gets you if you're enjoying yourself, apparently, or having a fun dinner. You can go to the movies and you can go to the casino, but you can't visit your family and you can't go to the gym. Has our entire country lost its fucking mind completely? Have we all gone insane? We've criminalized more than 250,000 South Africans for violating lockdown regulations. Tens of thousands of those, with their admission of guilt fines that they've signed, now have criminal records that will last a minimum of 10 years, which they will only be able to apply to expunge in 10 years, which means that they are unemployable. They cannot travel and they cannot be employed. Therefore, we have turned them into criminals, and now they will have to behave like criminals to stay alive, because they're not allowed. They've been excluded economically, as Howard Dembowski said on 567 Cape Talk yesterday morning. The crisis, there's so many layers to the crisis or other crises that the lockdown has caused, and the extensive nature thereof will only become apparent as we start easing out and we start seeing that the country is actually ruined without a single shot being fired by the sycophantic ANC, who's either now on board with full Marxism. They want NHI, even though the hospitals that they run are a complete disaster failure and a hive and den of criminal incompetence. They want expropriation without compensation, because the wealth that hasn't already been eroded and destroyed, they want to take that, including your pension, so they can pump your money that you've saved into their vanity project SAA that's never made a profit, never will make a profit, will never be a world-class airline, will never achieve anything other than select cater enrichment. That's all that SAA is. It's a special purpose vehicle of criminality, corruption, and cater enrichment. That's all that SA is. It serves literally no purpose. This country will be no worse off if we killed that flightless and extinct dodo, put a sword to its neck, killed it, closed it down. If you work there, sorry, fuck you. You've lived off the public purse for long enough. Get out and get a real job, mate. It's done. No one except the people working at SA will be worse off if we close that shit show down and allow the private sector to absorb what there is to absorb. Private sector can do everything in aviation better than the government can. It's time to privatize Eskom, because as if the economy isn't broken enough, we're still subjected to load shedding of stage 2. So good luck trying to make a living in this limited economic time with load shedding taking you out at the ankles. I can carry on longer and I can rant the whole bloody day about this, but before I run out of steam and before I bore you and before I lose you, ultimately what needs to happen here, this government needs to be held accountable for what they've done to us. Business needs to grow a spine and balls, because corporate SA, as Ramon on the morning shot said today, it's done. They're nowhere. They've done nothing. They're not going to save us. If you want to save this country, support small and medium businesses, because they are so decentralized. Government can have corporate SA CEOs by the balls and pull their choke chain. You can't do it to tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of small business owners. They're too widely spread and they don't care. Support small business. Get your money out of retirement annuities. Get your pension out of this country. Get your money out of this country as much as is humanly possible, because the government, the ANC, will come for it. to pump that money into their vanity projects. So unless you want your pension to finance SAA, I suggest you figure out right now to get it out. Listen to Magnus Haystack, and if your financial or manager or asset manager disagrees with him, get a new one, because that guy's obviously got no, or girl has got no clue what they are talking about. And explore the wonderful world of cryptocurrency, because that's going to be a thing. And buy guns and ammunition. Get your competency done. Use this website's resources to figure out how to, what the process is. I'll link the video in here. And learn how to protect yourself and your family from violent criminals and state-sanctioned tyrants. And on that bombshell, I'm out. Have a fantastic day. Check you soon.